2 years since the attacks and murderous campaign has been going on in Palestine. We've had the recognition of Western nations of Palestine. We've had the attack on Qatar, Muslim leaders gathering, Muslim leaders meeting, Trump at the UN headquarters. What is going on? Assalamu alaikum and welcome. This is the only way up. So it's been 2 years of heartache, 2 years of suffering, 2 years of devastation, and is it slowing down? No, it's getting even worse. We know what they're doing in Gaza City, destroying homes, people's homes that are being destroyed now. At the same time, some people say finally Palestine being recognized as a state by Western powers, France and UK, plus additional countries, Portugal, Canada, and New Zealand, plus Pakistan, Saudi defense, talk of an Islamic NATO. How do we try to make sense of all this?
Yes, welcome, Shani. Hope you're well. Yeah, unfortunately, we're really quickly coming up to the second anniversary of October 7th, and a lot's happened in those 2 years. A lot has become clear to a lot of people. Many myths have been debunked, and many truths now many have become aware of. Probably the first point I'll make, the Israelis were really trying to take advantage, the Zionists who are really using October 7th now to further their agenda. How do they see things after 2 years? If you look, Israel is being accused and effectively it's been found guilty of carrying out a man-made famine. Just a week ago, the UN Commission, which has been there for about 3 years now, they have now called what the Israelis are doing in Gaza a genocide. Greater Israel is now on the agenda. Everybody believes it's not about the hostages. It's not about Hamas. In fact, what Israel's doing in Syria, which has nothing to do with October 7th, what Israel's doing in Lebanon, which has nothing to do with October 7th, what Israel's doing to Iran, what it's done to Qatar, really the hostages are secondary actually. Really, Israel sees this as an opportunity to expand. Israel is facing a massive credibility crisis across the world, left, right, center, neutral people. They see Israel very differently now. Israel spent, I think, the best part of 72 years building an image that it's the victim. And where are we now after 72 years? Well, the people that were victims of a genocide are now being accused of carrying out a genocide. We've seen a few proposals post-Gaza. I mean, most of them are a joke. They don't really involve the Gazans. And really what's become clear now is that the biggest obstacle to a ceasefire deal, the biggest obstacle to a peace deal, the biggest obstacle to peace in the region is actually Israel. It's Israel who doesn't want a peace deal. It's Israel who keeps blaming Hamas for everything, even though they are getting in the way. So really, Shani, after 2 years, the Zionists are not saying we're in a strong position. They're not saying we are now secure. They're not saying we've got security. After 72 years and after the last 2 years, they're still worried about their future. So despite everything they've done, the massacres they've committed, the murders, the rape, the genocides, they are still worried about the future of the state of Israel. And that's very telling where things are.
Yeah, and obviously it's been going for 2 years. A lot's changed. The dynamic always changes, and we're in the current situation where that place is expanding its boundaries, expanding its borders, taking over Zone E1, splitting West Bank into two. Effectively, Gaza has become a situation where all they're talking about is real estate. Real estate. It's going to be a real estate bonanza, the Riviera of the Middle East. All these terms of what we're going to do with this land rather than a nation state. In the midst of all that, we've got West and Britain declaring as Palestine. Firstly, is it due to principles? Is it due to a sense of justice or sense of injustice or what's going on that Britain and France have said we want to recognize the state of Palestine? I don't think it is. This issue, like you rightly mentioned, and everyone knows, has been going on for decades. Before we were born and before many of our parents were born. This is not a today issue. And nor has a two-state discussion been a today discussion. This has been a decade long, many decades, and discussion, and that's what it was meant to be, and it was always meant to stay there. We're going to keep it as a discussion, keep it as a discussion, keep it as a discussion. Why? Because this was sold as the beautiful lie for the Muslims of the Middle East, of the world, as your solution for this situation. Why change now? Why has Britain declared and is going quite aggressive and saying there can't be no expansion, it has to be a two-state solution? From what I can understand, Britain is very sensitive to the ground situation. It knows that the Ummah is alive, that the Ummah won't accept the expansion of the borders. The Ummah is ready to give up on its rulers, to give, and it has already given up on the institutions, the UNs, the bilaterals, the OICs, the organizations, and this will be something that seals the deal, and the Ummah will not turn to its leaders anymore. And we all know the leaders are proxies and servants for US and Europe and the West. And to keep that stability, to keep that grip, that stranglehold on the Muslim world, to keep it down, it wants to keep this Palestine solution as a great prize, the vision of a great prize for the Ummah. Whereas America sees things differently, but from Britain's perspective, it seems to me that that is what they're going for. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if they were serious about this, the conversation we'll be having now is borders, territory, Palestinian people, how many are their numbers, is the territory suitable for them, can it serve them economically, can they be in security, foreign relations. That's the conversation we'll be having. The fact that we're not having that conversation tells you that we can't really take this seriously, unfortunately. I know a lot of people hope that a Palestinian state would be some sort of solution. We've got to see what's happened there, and as you mentioned, that European leaders, especially, are looking really bad in front of the people. I mentioned, look, the people have seen through Israel. As far as they're concerned, Israel may have been the victim of October 7th, but what they've committed after that is far worse. And that's why, shockingly, man-made famine and genocide now has been linked to Israel, despite their history. So, if you are a Zionist supporter, you've got a bit of a problem now. Your support base, your people, they're seeing you as supporting Israel when they're turning against it. Even in the US, we're finding now the youth are turning against Israel. So, for European leaders and Western leaders, the easiest way to get around this is to promise something that really, it's going to take decades to really make, and it's not something they have to deliver on right now. So it might get them the of Trump and Netanyahu at the moment, but the reality, it doesn't actually change anything. I mean, Keir Starmer, Macron cannot point to you where Israel would be on the ground. In fact, if you find they are talking about a state for the Palestinian people, but none of them have given direct interviews to the media where they can be scrutinized. What does it mean? Where will it be? How will it practically work? And we've had conferences and summits before where these were the points that they diverged on. I mean, the Israeli response is very interesting. They've come out, with all guns in the air, because for them, even a discussion that's not on their points is a failure. So even the Israelis know there's nothing practical going on here. But the fact that Palestine is dominating the headlines is a problem for them. And we're in a unique scenario now where pro-Israelis are struggling to dominate the headlines. They're struggling to dominate the narrative. And really, as each day goes on, more and more people who were neutral, they didn't have a dog in the game, they're neither a Muslim, they're neither a Jew, they're turning against Israel because they can see what Israel is doing. So, whilst Israel senses it has an opportunity of a lifetime to expand, to kill off a Palestinian state, to make the region, the Palestinian territories, Gaza and West Bank, uninhabitable. But the reality here is they've lost every ounce of credibility, and that's going to have long term implications for them. What took them 72 years to build, they ripped apart in 2 years, and they will pay the price for that going forward.
Yeah, and I think with the recent events of they threw a bomb into Qatar, there's a huge meeting of Muslim leaders, and there was condemnation, strong words, a lot of interviews, back and forth with America and Europe. And is this something that we should latch onto and grab hold of? Um, Looking into it, it seems as though it's nothing to grab hold of, unfortunately, in the sense that they bombed Syria, Lebanon, Iran, many places. They've killed the Ummah in Syria, they've killed the Ummah in Iraq, and now they've hit Qatar. And these leaders have overseen and stood by over decades as millions and millions of Muslims have been killed and murdered. From Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Yemen, uh, children are dying of malnutrition, no medicines, no homes, no future, no hope. Millions have migrated, left their homes of their fathers, left their parents behind. Now suddenly one incident and they're all up, standing up. Why are they standing up? Because they know that their seat may be next. They know that we can't give the signals that we are weak, and so the Ummah may disbelieve in us. And it's all about their power and their seats and their exertion, unfortunately. They have no care for the Ummah. Not one person do they care for. This meeting should have happened uh, the day they dropped the first bomb in Gaza, when the first child got killed in Gaza, when the first mother pleaded and cried out. This is when that meeting should happen. The fact that it's happened so many months later on different background and prerequisites to the meetings shows that they have very little, if any, sympathy, heartache, worry for the Ummah, and more they're concerned about their leadership, maintaining control, maintaining governance, and maintaining their grip on power.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, looking forward, Shani, you got a couple of probably key developments going forward. There's a couple of plans that are being thrown around about Gaza. You've got the Trump Riviera plan, where they want to turn it into some AI smart city where people who want to leave can leave, and those who don't want to leave will need to relocate until it's rebuilt. I mean, no one's really taking this plan seriously. You've got the Netanyahu Day After plan, which really is Israel controls everything. Basically, it becomes a more modern techno concentration camp. And then you had the Mubarak plan, which everyone criticized for not doing enough about Hamas. What Israel's making clear is that its security is paramount. And what that means is they will expand their territories until they have developed large enough buffer zones. So they're talking about from Damascus to the south of Syria, that should be demilitarized. They're saying that they're not going to leave Lebanon. The West Bank, they're talking about annexing it. And the Israelis are so arrogant, they're actually even talking about Egypt and Jordan. And this really shows you that they're really taking advantage of October 7th to really execute the plan they've had really that go back to 1948. Probably the last key development that's been quite interesting is Qatar had the largest American airbase, and there was an informal agreement that in any scenario where Qatar's attacked, America will provide it with security. And what America has basically said with this attack is that, look, if the attack happens to come from Israel, then we are only on one side, and that's Israel. And this has really turned the region on its head. So Saudi, all the Gulf leaders who rely on America, America's basically said that, look, if you fall out of Israel, you're on your own. Don't expect us to come and help you. So this is leading to all the rulers to reevaluate their positions. It's leading to rulers to reevaluate the American guarantee. And remember, before this, Saudi Arabia is looking for a NATO-style agreement from America. The Europeans are looking for more security from America, and America's really shown its cards. I mean, what Qatar has shown is the old order of rules, of international law, of disputes settled through international institutions. This global liberal order, it has now officially come to an end. It's every nation for itself. It's about you making your own alliances between countries. America upholding the global system, that's now come to an end. And remember, the alliances between Germany, Russia, Britain, and France is what led to the First World War. These are the things that actually lead to world wars. So we are really entering a new era, the era where America created a global system that people work through, that's come to an end. And that also means the Muslim rulers now have to reevaluate their position. If they always thought they could rely on America, America showed with this Qatar attack that when it has to take sides, it will be with the Zionists. And that's an interesting dynamic actually, because the Zionists have lost all credibility. Is America prepared to go down for them? And that's probably something to keep an eye out for really going forward.
Thanks for your thoughts. A bit longer video than usual. Jazakallah khair for listening. Leave a comment. Remember to share and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.